Relative clauses. Relative clause. You have already studied about adjective clauses. An adjective clause is also called a relative clause. A relative clause tells us which person or thing, or what kind of person or thing, the speaker means. It is normally introduced by relative pronouns like who, which, that, whose, whom, and relative adverbs like when and where. Look at these sentences. 1. A gentleman who lived in our neighborhood came to our help. Who lived in our neighborhood tells us which gentleman. 2. I admire people who never give up. Who never give up tells us what kind of people. Colored words are relative clauses. Definition. A relative clause is a type of subordinate clause modifying a noun or a pronoun and giving detailed information about the person or thing the noun or pronoun refers to. Relative clauses usually follow the nouns or pronouns they modify and are usually introduced by a relative pronoun, such as who, whose, whom, which or that, and a relative adverb like when and where. Use of relative pronoun, who. We use who in a relative clause when we are talking about people, not things. We use it in place of he or she/they. For example, the girl, she stood first in the class, is my best friend. The girl who stood first in the class is my best friend. The people, they live in villages, usually have a peaceful lifestyle. The people who live in villages usually have a peaceful lifestyle. Look at some more examples. A theist is a person who believes in God. Anyone who is interested in taking part in this play should contact head boy of the school. In most cases, we can use that in place of who. The girl that stood first in the class is my best friend. The people that live in villages usually have a peaceful lifestyle. Use of relative pronoun, which, that. We use which or that in a relative clause when we are talking about things, not people. For example, where is the pencil box? It was lying on the table. Where is the pencil box? Which/that was lying on the table. The laptop which, that, was left on the desk belongs to Sarah. She works for a company which/that manufactures solar panels. He avoids restaurants which that serve spicy food. Use of relative pronouns, that. That can normally be used in place of both who and which. But there are certain cases where we have to use that. 1. We use that after adjective in the superlative degree. For example, she is the most talented singer that I have ever heard. This is the most delicious meal that I have ever tasted. 2. We use that after the words all, any, anything, none, nothing, etc. For example, all that glitters is not gold. Do I, have any books that I can borrow? Is there, anything that I can help you with? None that I know of have arrived yet. There's nothing that can stop us now. 3. If we needed a word to refer to both a person and a thing, we would naturally use that. For example, both the dog and the leash that were left outside the house seem to be missing. Keep in mind, can what and that be replaced? What cannot be used in place of that. What equals the things that, for example, I'm sorry for what happened, and not, I'm sorry for that happened, I'm sorry for the thing that happened. 2. I'm sorry for all that happened, and not, I'm sorry for all what happened. Note, in the first sentence, what happened is not a relative clause. There is no noun or pronoun that it modifies. It is, in fact, a noun clause, object of the preposition for. In the second sentence, that happened is a relative clause modifying the pronoun all. Omission of who/which/that. We can make a sentence more concise by removing who, which, or that from the relative clause. 1. When who, what and that are the subject of the verb, we often remove them along with the verb to be. For example, the man who is standing over there is my brother. The man is standing over there. Who, the man, is the subject of the verb is standing. The man standing over there is my brother. 2. And if the word is being followed by participle, we change the verb into ing form. For example, I have lost the purse which contained my credit and debit cards. The purse contained my credit and debit cards, which, the purse, is the subject of the verb contained. I have lost the purse containing my credit and debit cards. But sometimes who/which/ that is the object of the verb. For example, 1. The music system that she wanted to buy was beyond her budget. She wanted to buy the music system. That, the music system, is the object of the verb to buy. 2. The shawl which Tia knitted proved very helpful. Tia knitted the shawl. Which, the shawl, is the object of the verb knitted. When who/which/ that is the object, we can leave it out. We can say 1. The music system she wanted to buy was beyond her budget. 2. The shawl Tia knitted proved very helpful. Prepositions in relative clauses. Notice the position of prepositions to, /at, /with, etc. in relative clauses. I can't find the shirt, I'm looking for it. I can't find the shirt, which/that, I'm looking for. The room, we slept in it last night, was very dirty. The room, which/that, we slept in last night was very dirty. We can leave out who/which/that in these sentences. Use of whose. In relative clauses we use whose in place of a/her/their. For example, he's a musician. His albums have sold millions. He is a musician whose albums have sold millions. I have a brother. His car is red. I have a brother whose car is red. We use whose mostly for people, but sometimes it can be used for things as well. For example, she has a bicycle whose tires are flat. Use of whom. Whom is the objective form of who, so it is used in place of him/her/them. For example, the official, we contacted him, couldn't help us much. The official whom we contacted couldn't help us much. But in spoken English, it is not common to use whom. It is preferred to use who or that in place of whom. For example, the official who we contacted couldn't help us much. The official that we contacted couldn't help us much. The official we contacted couldn't help us much. We can use whom with a preposition, to whom, with whom. For example, the person to whom we talked to gave us a lot of information. The man with whom we signed the agreement backed out. But even these sentences can be written without whom. For example, the person we talked to gave us a lot of information. The man we signed the agreement with backed out. Use of where. In a relative clause, we can use where to talk about a place. It is used in place of there. For example, the city, I was born there, had a big church. The city where I was born had a big church. I longed for a place I could get some peace of mind there. I longed for a place where I could get some peace of mind. I longed for a place where I could get some peace of mind. Can you suggest a bakery where I could get delicious fruit cake? Relative clauses, defining and non-defining. There are two types of relative clauses. Let us compare the relative clauses underlined in the following examples to understand these two types. Type 1. Type 2. I am looking for a boy who has taken away my father's bike. I am looking for Ben, who has taken away my father's bike. They stayed at the hotel which Liam had recommended. They stayed at Palm Paradise, which Liam had recommended. In type 1, the relative clause tells us which person or thing, or what kind of person or thing, the speaker means. The boy who has taken away my father's bike tells us which boy. The hotel which Liam had recommended tells us which hotel. This type of relative clause is called a defining clause. In type 2, the relative clause does not tell us which person or thing the speaker means. We already know which person or thing is meant: Ben, Palm Paradise. The relative clause gives us extra information about some person or thing. This type of relative clause is called a non-defining clause. There are 3 important points to remember about defining and non-defining clauses. 1. We do not use commas with defining clauses. I know a person who can speak English fluently. I can't live at a place which is far away from the seaside. But non-defining clauses are set off by commas. Meet my sister Clara, who can speak English fluently. I can't live in Delhi, which is far away from the seaside. 2. In defining clauses, we can use that in place of who/which. We are looking for someone who/that holds an MBA degree. We to stay at a hotel which/that serves only vegetarian food. But in non-defining clauses, we cannot use that. Mia, who, and not that, holds an MBA degree, is working as a director in this company. We to stay at Hyatt Hotel, which, and not that, serves only vegetarian food. 3. In defining clauses, we can leave out who/which/that. When it is the object, we need someone whom we can trust. The hotel which you recommended served only vegetarian food. In these sentences, we can leave out whom/which. In non-defining clauses, we cannot leave out who/which. We have employed Mia whom we can trust. We cannot write, we have employed Mia, we can trust. The Sunset Serenity Hotel, which you recommended, serves only vegetarian food. We cannot write, the Sunset Serenity Hotel, you recommended, serves only vegetarian food. Joining sentences. It is often possible to join 2 sentences into one by making one of them a relative clause. For example, a man opened the door. He welcomed me warmly. The man who opened the door welcomed me warmly. Note: a man has been changed into the man. 2. Isla couldn't take the final examination. She hasn't been promoted. Isla, who couldn't take the final examination, hasn't been promoted. Note: the relative clause has been set off by commas. 3. We traveled by a train. It was very comfortable. The train, which/that, we traveled by was very comfortable. In this sentence we can leave out which/that.